up, tense up the muscles in the arms, the throat, even a little bit in the face. Kind of squeeze the face. Think about tightening it all inward. And then take a big breath in. And a nice slow breath out. And with that slow breath out, release everything from the floor up. Just letting the legs become soft and softening the hips, belly, the back, the chest, the ribs, the arms, the fingers. Let the fingers just curl naturally and relax. And just let the face loosen up. Just start to settle here in this place of ease. Make the breath comfortable. And just slow it down a little bit. I want you to just create a little visualization here, just starting to, as you breathe in, imagining or picturing a little ball, a little globe of light at the very tip of your tailbone. And with the inhale, it rises slowly up the spine to reach the crown. And then when you exhale, just imagine that little ball of light to travel down from the crown, through the neck and the spine, all the way to the tailbone, really slow. And just continue with that visualization, picturing that ball of light rising up and down the spine, from tailbone to crown, and then crown to tailbone, with your breath. And just keep the breath slow and smooth. And you can make that ball of light any color that you like. White, a healing pink light, relaxing green light, whatever you like. Remaining here for a minute, settled in the quiet. And just gently blink open the eyes. And with an inhale, sweep the hands together above the head. And you're going to clasp the fingers together. And let's just take chin to chest and place the hands at the back of the skull. Give the neck a little stretch. Draw your elbows closer. Squeeze. And then inhale, lift the head, lift the gaze to the ceiling. Open the elbows wide. Just let the skull rest in the hands for a moment. And then open the hands nice and wide. Tuck your chin in, and you're going to take your right hand to your left knee. Take a little twist here. Just unwind the body. And then inhale, reach up high and wide and twist over to the right. Press the knee away with the hand. Just give yourself a little twist. And then inhale, unwind, reach up. And then with your exhale, just take a forward fold down over the legs. Just breathe into the spine for a moment. Breathe through the belly. And then start to rise up. Come back to seated. We're just gonna, if you have a prop beneath you, remove it from beneath you. And you're gonna slide your feet out to Baddha Konasana or butterfly shape. Feet together, knees wide. If you have a block, grab a block. Right, and you're just gonna place the block under the feet. Right, just giving yourself a little bit of a deeper opening for the hip flexors. It's fine if you don't have the block. You just keep the feet on the floor. And let's kind of lift away from the floor, push it away with the hands and sink back. Push your sit bones behind you and find your pelvic tilt here. Let's just start to gently press the knees away with the forearms. And as you press the knees away, think about lengthening through the spine, lengthening the crown of the head forward. Expand your heart here. Push your shoulders back. Draw your chin towards your toes. Good, and then start to rise back to seated. You're going to take your hands under the block, and if you don't have a block, you're just going to grab your feet. Right, so the hands reach over to the front of the block. The fingers fold over the front of the block. This is going to give you some extra pulling forward into the pose. And again, if you're grabbing the feet, just pull the feet towards you to gain that leverage. Right, let the head sink, feel the spine round, and then hollow your belly out. Think about drawing your navel in and up, and feel how that creates more lifting forward of the shoulders, a deeper expression of the pose. And you're letting the inner thighs soften. Right, don't tense your body up away from the pose. That will happen naturally. Settle your awareness to the bone level of your body and think about breathing through your bones so you find more softness and expansion in this place of slight struggle where you're taking the stretch deeper into the joints. And then just breathe out anything remaining that is not at ease. I want you to think about breathing through the kidney area of the body. And then a little space at the bottom of the rib cage, the back body. And this place holds on to fear. So maybe think about breathing light into that space. Expansion, the finding of surrender there. And as you remain settled here, you may find that you can go a little bit deeper. As you're finding yourself in the pose, you might come to your edge and then get comfortable there, but then you want to just maybe slightly push it a little bit further, not to any points of pain, but where you're leaning into that struggle. Just challenge yourself that way. And use your breath as your tool to remain in this place so the mind stays calm and steady. We'll take 4 more cycles of breath here. On the exhale cycle, you're going to try to go a tiny drop deeper. You're going to squeeze yourself a little bit deeper into the pose on those exhales. Good, and then start to rise up nice and slow. And we're just going to lift the knees together and shake out the legs a bit. We're going to use our block again, but if you don't have a block, you're going to just use a towel. I'm going to show you how to do that. And, you know, you can always use a towel as a replacement for the block if the pose itself is too intense. We're going to go into supported bridge. So I'm grabbing a towel just to show you. You would just roll it up instead of using a block. See, it's about the same height as a block, a little less intense because it's softer. And you could always play with the level of intensity by making the roll of the towel smaller. You can use it the same way. You're going to first start lying down on the back. Bridge position, the feet are on the floor. And you're going to lift up and place the sacrum on the block, right? You start out so that it's on the flat level and long down the sacrum, right? Some of you, that might be not feel like enough support for the hips, so you may do it wide across the hips, but make sure it's not in your lumbar spine. Make sure it's not lower towards the tailbone where your sacrum isn't fully on the block. And if you want more intensity, you just take the block up to the second level, right? And you can use the towel the same way. Just take it long, roll long down the sacrum. Right? And we're gonna come back to the butterfly shape unless you've already had enough in your hips, right? If you feel like your hips have had enough, just keep your knees up or lengthen your legs out with the feet nice and wide. Right? Now settle on your shoulders. Walk them apart a bit. Just wiggle around the shoulders. Tuck your chin in so your neck feels a release. Right? And then let's just place the hands with the fingers wide across the ribs and breathe into the hands. And just connect to the expansion and contraction of your lungs. Close the eyes. Notice where you're using muscular effort within your body. Let that go. Breathe softness and lightness into the deeper recesses of the body, the bone and tendon level, the white tissues. And everything else relax and release and come to ease. I'm just gonna take the hands slowly away from the body, sweep them up above the head. The hands spread out wide, the arms spread out wide. Let's spread the feet out wide, straighten the legs. And I want you to lengthen your fingers out, stretch outward, stretch your toes out, right? All across the body, a big long stretch. And then let that all settle into ease. Just come to rest. Breathe from through the fingertips, all the way down to the toes. And then exhale from the toes, all the way out to the fingertips. Start to take the feet on the floor, step them back towards you, and then take the hands down to the sides of the body. Let's bridge the hips up and take the prop from beneath. And let's just give the knees a good hug. Lift your head away from the floor and hug yourself tight into a little ball. And you're gonna rock up to seated. We're gonna use the block or the towel once again. So grab your prop. And you're gonna align the heel of the right foot with the right side of the mat. And either putting the block under the knee or the towel under the knee. So the knee is slightly bent, right? And from here, you're either tucking that left foot behind you in a half saddle, right? Or, just keep the leg straight if that is troubling your knee, right? So just arrange this foot comfortably, and then you'll feel yourself, if you're tucking that foot back, you'll feel yourself so that you're tilting to the right. You wanna kind of fix that up. You're just gonna push the floor away, and push that right hip out so the hips are a little more centered, a little more squared, right? And then just raise the hands up above the head, lengthen, turn towards the right toes, lengthen out over the leg, and find a grasp, whether that's over the foot, under the ankle or calf, right? And you're keeping yourself squared towards your right knee. Think about trying to touch your heart to your knee. And then let the head drop. And bring yourself to a place where you're feeling a little bit of struggle deep in the joints. And breathe that struggle away. Let go of all the efforting. Let's just begin to rise up nice and slow. And we'll start to just shift over to the right and release the left leg from beneath and place your prop underneath the left knee. Keep this leg lengthened out or the foot tucked back. Right, just kind of get comfortable there. It's too much strain. Keep the leg outstretched. And you're going to lift away from the floor and roll that left hip out. So a little more even and centered. And you raise the hands up. You're going to lengthen out over the left leg. And find the grasp. You can use a strap if you have a strap as well. Just think about lengthening your heart, leaning towards that left knee. Find your edge and then just softly let yourself drop into it. Let the head get heavy. And let go of the resistance in the body. Let the mind get quiet. Make the breath longer and softer. Let's just rise up to seated from here and just lean over to the left. Release the right leg from beneath you and give your knees a little shake. And we're going to come on to the belly from here. Again, we're going to use our prop, towel or blanket. Coming up onto the elbows. Wiggling your hips, settling them so they're even. Right. And then we're going to slide the left knee up so that the inner knee is on the mat or you use a prop. Right? So if it's too intense for your hip, just walk your way over to the right side of your mat so the inner knee is resting on the cushion mat. Right? Maybe use your prop. Place the knee up on the prop. Your leg is in this L shape with the knee in line with the hip and the ankle in line with the knee. And then you'll feel yourself kind of leaning over to the right with your right hip rolled underneath you, and you want the opposite. So what you do is curl your right toes under, lift that hip away from the floor, and roll it out, widen it out towards the right side of your mat. You feel a deeper intensity in the hips that way. So stay here for a moment. If it's too much for your lower back, you're going to come right down onto the chest from here. Right? If you want a little bit deeper of a back bend, you're going to take your hands out to the top corners of your mat. And you're going to raise the elbows up away from the floor. This is really deep, so don't go to this level if it's painful for you. And then release that and lower down. You take the hands to stack, the elbows open nice and wide, and rest on the chin or one of your cheeks. And then just wiggle your hips a bit, let them settle a little bit more. Close your eyes. Notice what's tensing away. What's not fully accepting the pose? What's limited? What's tight? And just rest your awareness there until you feel it come to ease. Just start to rise up, lift the head, and just walk your elbows closer. You're gonna slide that knee off of the prop. And from here, you're gonna take your right knee up onto the mat or the prop. So if you're not using the prop, just wiggle your way over to the left side of the mat. So the inner knee, which is sensitive, is on the cushion part of the mat. And if not, if you want to go deeper, you're going to use your block or your towel. Right? And then you'll feel this left hip kind of rolled under. What you want to do is curl your left toes under and lift the hip away from the floor, roll it out to the left side of the mat. Right? From here, drop right into the rest mode of the pose, coming with the elbows wide, the hands stacked on the opposite cheek than before or on your chin. Or if you want to, for a moment, just going deeper into the lumbar area, deeper into the hips. You widen the hands out and you raise the elbows away from the mat. And you let your belly sink and your shoulders wide and open. And you lower down. Rest on the opposite cheek or chin. Eyes closed. Just allowing everything to settle. Allow your body to absorb all that's happening. Don't tense or lock away. And start to gently release from this. Lift the head and Walk the elbows closer. And remove the prop from the knee, slide the knee down. And just wiggle over to the center of your mat and just even out the hips. Give them a wiggle. Right? And we'll start to come into the shoulders. So make sure that your elbows are right below your shoulders in that alignment. And what you're going to do here is turn your left forearm in and then right over left. Right? So start to walk the hands away. Right? You'll feel that intensity in the shoulders, in the trapezius area, that triangular muscle between your shoulder blades. You may more feel it in the upper arms. If it's too intense, you just transition this to a thread the needle. You widen the right hand forward and walk the left fingertips further away from your right shoulder, and you come onto the left ear, onto the mat, or a block, or your towel, right? If that's a strain for your neck. So you're either here in a thread the needle, or you have the hands spread apart wide, tying the arms up in a knot, chin or cheek resting on the upper arm. You could also use a prop to rest the forehead on. And just close your eyes and breathe into whatever feels tight here. And then softly breathing in and out of the back of the heart. And we're going to start to release that. Just lift the head and slide the arms apart. Just come to rest on the elbows once again. And you'll just switch the cross here. Right, fold it in, left over right, and walk the hands away. Right? Otherwise, if it's too intense, a thread the needle position with the left hand stretched above the head. And you walk the right hand away and turn onto the right ear, either on the mat or a block. Right, if you have the arms tied in a knot, you're resting on chin or cheek. Wiggle your hips a bit, let your body settle and open and soften. And just breathe softly through the back of the heart. Would you start to lift the head and then tangle the arms, slide them apart. Take child's pose here. When you come into child's pose, you're gonna let the arms rest down at the sides of the body with the hands up, the palms up. And let your shoulders release here. You start to come up to seated. Just walk the hands behind you. Let's just transition this to a light back bend. Walk the hands back, the fingertips facing the toes, arch the body upward, draw the belly forward. Good, and then push yourself forward and let's come to seated with the legs stretched out in front of us. Great. So your feet are equidistant apart here. And if you want to, you can prop up your knees with blocks or towel, right? So we're going to come into a forward fold. Now, if you are looking more for a stretch in the lower back, you would prop up your knees, right? Because as the knees are bent, it releases the hip flexors. So you bring that stretch into the lower back rather than the hamstring area. If you're keeping the leg straight. So you choose, make it work for yourself, whatever position you prefer. And then raise the hands up high. Let's start to stretch them back and recline a bit. And then we're going to start to reach forward. A nice long lengthening out over the legs. And a grasping over of the feet or under the legs. If you're grasping under the calf or ankle area, you can widen your elbows out to increase the intensity to take a deeper fold. Let the head sink. Pull yourself closer to your legs. Bring yourself to that place of slight bit of struggle. And just melt into the struggle. Use your breath. Slow it down. Breathe up and down the spine. Let's start to rise up. Give the legs a little wiggle. And we're going to come up onto the knees. Toes curled under. And you're going to bring your inner knees to touch, and you're going to widen your feet out to the sides of the mat. So they're about as wide open as the mat. And then just gently shift the hips forward. Take a little back bend, pull the shoulders back and the heart up. Breathe into that extra expansion you're making in the front of the lungs. Good, and then let's bring the feet back together. Let's come to hands and knees. And we'll go right into pigeon. Take your right knee behind the wrist, slide your toes out towards the left wrist. Get low to the floor, walk the left knee back. Right, here's a place where if you wanted to make this pose more restorative, you could use a prop. So wiggle closer to the floor, right? And then put your left toes back. Make sure your hips are squaring nicely. You could always prop your right hip up if you feel yourself tilting to the right side. Now here's where you can use the prop. Placing it right up against the shin. And as you come to lower into the pose, you would just rest the chest and cheek onto the bolster. Right? Otherwise, you're just coming to the traditional variation, walking the hands forward all the way onto the mat, resting on the forehead. Walk the elbows a bit further away from one another so your shoulders are loose, your heart is melting. And then just let everything become loose and open. Settle your awareness entirely on your breath. Breathe through your third eye, the space between the eyebrows. Begin to rise up slowly. Walk the hands towards you. Walk the left knee up. Right, let's come back to hands and knees. And now the inner knees touching, the hands wide on the mat, and dropping the hips left to right, just evening them out. Arrange yourself back into hands and knees, and we'll bring the pose to the other side. Just slide your left knee up, walk the right knee far back, slide your toes towards your right wrist, and then you're going to lower nice and low to the floor. Right now, here's where you can use a prop under your hip if you'd like. You can use the bolster to make the pose a bit more restorative. Taking the bolster to the shin and resting out over the bolster, or lengthening out onto the mat. Make sure your shoulders square forward. Rest the forehead on the mat. Let the shoulders release. Open them nice and wide. Just take a moment to notice what's tightening up for you. What's efforting here? And just let everything come to a soft place of ease. Breathe through your third eye. And let's just begin to release the pose. Lifting forward and back, and walk the hands back, and walk your right knee up. Slide the left knee back, come back to hands and knees. And then widen your hands out and bring your knees to touch and drop the hips left to right. And let's come up to the knees with the toes curled under. Just even out the spine for a moment. Let's take a little back bend, draw the hips forward. Release and sink down to the heels. Let's shift over to one side to come onto the back to twist. So lie flat on the back and hug in the knees. Squeeze them close. You're going to release the left leg onto the mat and widen the right hand out and just pull the knee over to the left. Turn to look towards the right hand. Press that knee closer to the mat. Right, notice what's tensing within. Let everything come to a soft, settled space. And breathe into that extra expansion you're making into your right side rib cage. Roll onto your back. Let's grab the knees, give them a big hug. Release the right leg onto the mat. Keep hugging the left knee in tight. And then lengthen the left arm out. And let the right hand pull the left knee over into a twist as you turn to look at the left hand. Let go of any resistance. Breathe into the left side rib cage. gonna roll on your back. Pull the knees in, and let's take a yogi toe lock with the peace sign fingers over the big toes. Pull the knees down, right? Or you can grab behind the knees and pull them closer to you. I'm just gonna start to rock side to side. And then release and hug the knees in. Lift your head from the floor and let's rock up to seated from here. And we'll prepare to come to rest mode here. So we're gonna use our props. You can prop the legs up with pillows or bolsters. You can use your towel or your blanket, a folded blanket to rest the head and neck. And if you want to, just grabbing something to cover over the eyes, a washcloth, just to shut out the light from the room, or an eye bag if you have one. Just get comfortable here. You rest the head on the support. Just make sure your shoulders are on the mat. Your chin is slightly tucked in, and then you can use your blanket to kind of squeeze and tuck into all the little crevices in the head and neck. Right? And just lift your hips up and tuck your tailbone, roll it underneath you so you're a little flatter on the back, a little more grounded. You can widen the feet out a bit, make sure your heels are resting on the floor, and the hands either face up and widened out so your shoulders are nice and rested, or just resting the hands on the body. Maybe on the belly, maybe both on the heart, or one on the heart, one on the belly. You can prop your elbows up with blocks or supports if you feel like you have to use muscular effort to keep your hands on your body. And let everything come to a soft and settled space here. And breathe out any tension in the body. Let it go with the exhale. Letting all the bones get heavy. Every tissue in the body unraveling and softening. Rest the face. Feel the skin of the face soften. Feel the eyeballs recede into the sockets. And eyelids softening. Relax the forehead, the nose, the cheeks, the temples. Feel the hinges of the jaw loosen up and the jaw goes slack and the tongue drops into the floor of the mouth. Relax the throat. Relax the shoulders, the arms, the hands, the fingers. Let your spine get heavy. Let your back relax. Let your chest soften. And just connect to the feeling of the heartbeat for a moment. And then connect to the feeling of the belly and the ribs rising and falling with your breath. And just allowing your hips to unravel and soften and settle from deep within. Letting the legs grow heavy, relax the thighs and the knees, the shins, feet, and toes. And gather up anything else remaining that doesn't serve you. Your next big, slow breath in. And as you breathe out, just let it release from the body and fade away into native nothingness. So what's left is the calm, pure self. Staying attached to your breath. Think about the thoughts that start to trickle in, like currents and waves on the surface of the water, disturbances, movement. And the breath is the guide that takes you deeper into the ocean where it's quiet and still and dark. So the thoughts make you rise up to the surface where the chaos is, and the breath takes you to a space that is quiet, the calm equanimity of the true self. So remain attached to your breath. Keep coming home to it every time the thoughts try to guide you away from the quiet within. And allow yourself to relax more and more with each breath until you hear me speak again.
be over. And
You're just starting to gently awaken the body, wiggle your fingers and toes, and nod your head. When you're ready, hugging your knees into your chest, just giving them a squeeze. Rolling over to your right. And slowly taking your time, come up to seated. And bringing your hands together at your heart. Thank you all for coming to share your practice with me today. Namaste.
namaste. Have a good weekend, everybody.